Cool. Let's get started then. So obviously we've been talking for a while now and trying to get this booked in. So it's really great to finally see you here.
So sorry, it's just been manic. It's always really busy right before Christmas.
Oh, it's fine. I know you've had a lot going on, haven't you? You've had a lot of ups and downs. It's been quite a big roller coaster ride for you with Insu Beauty.
Yeah, it's been just absolutely mental, yeah. Like from starting it to you know, coronavirus
Oh
and
no.
now stopped for 6 months and things like that. Yeah, it's just been a wild ride.
Well, the thing is, you must look back now 2 years ago and think, wow, how my life changed so much in 2 years.
Yeah, do you know, it's funny, but I was actually thinking about it yesterday, thinking I'm so grateful for the life that I've got right now because, even if I just think 1 year back, I just think, wow, things are so great right now. Just I'm so happy. I've got the business that I always wanted, because it's so hard to start, and for years and years and years I had every excuse under the sun not to start, and now that I just finally have it and it's there, it feels so incredible.
Well, I think that's one of the biggest things that stop people from starting a business. It's the excuse they make for themselves. They're always thinking, I can't do it because I've got this career to think about, or I've got children, or I haven't got any money, or it's something else.
Yeah,
But
absolutely, and many of those excuses I use myself.
oh yeah, and to be honest, I have over the years. I mean, I've been in business for a long time now, but I mean, in my kind of younger days, in my former life, so to speak, I used to always make excuses for why I can do things, and actually, I was the complete opposite to what I am now. I was lazy. I used to wait around for things to happen, but I think every business person has that moment in their life where something just clicks, and obviously that's different to everybody. So I
Yeah.
don't. So what I was kind of thinking is, why don't we go back on that note? Why don't we go back to the start, and why don't we sort of talk about your younger self, like way before all this stuff kind of kicked off? Like who was Iasha when she was maybe, I don't know, 16, 17?
When
At
I was
school,
16, 17, I was actually quite nerdy.
quite
I
nerdy.
remember sort of like my last year of high school, I was super nerdy and I was so focused on getting the best grades. I was really competitive. So
Hmm.
I spent every hour studying and trying really, really hard, and just being like, I just wanted to be the best. And I saw I saw education as my way out because I grew up in a not so great area, and I didn't have a lot of the things other people had. Like those little advantages. So I saw being smart and doing well at something as my way out of that environment, and being able to create something for myself, being able to become something. And even when I was like going back to like 9 or 10, I had this, I've still got it, but I had this little journal where I used to write about what I wanted my life to look like when I was 25 and when I was 30. And it says, I want to have this beautiful apartment all to myself, and have glittering views of the night sky, and be really comfortable and be able to buy all the chocolate that I want. And it's crazy. I love still having that journal because it all came true.
I started journaling recently. Actually, I've never done it in my whole life ever, and
Oh wow.
it's a really good thing, isn't it? And I think based on what you're saying there, it sounds like you already had the work ethic. You were working hard. Education was your way out. That was the
Yeah.
thing you valued, and whether that was business or whether it's education, you still applied yourself and worked hard at achieving that. And it sounds like all you've really done is you kind of replaced what you're putting your attention into. That's the thing that's changed. So
Mm.
you obviously always had it there. You always had that kind of drive to succeed. And like you say, because you didn't grow up in the best area, um, that was how you saw yourself getting out of that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I really saw it as my only way. I thought about, what other way am I going to have any sort of life? And I couldn't think of anything else. So I thought, I've got to do it, or else. I used to look around me and look at some of the older kids who are like 10 years older than me and think, I don't want that to be my life.
So true, and it's kind of sad when you know, even for me now, like, you know, I see people from school and stuff that have never really changed, and or at least the way I feel is I feel grateful that I've had the epiphanies that I've had that have made me kind of go on that journey, and you know, I'm sure you feel the same way about your.
Yeah, and it is so tough. I definitely, had it was hard working that hard all the time, and you have all the other things going on when you're younger as well. When I left high school at age of 16, it was actually the financial crash. It was 2008.
Oh,
And that made things 10 times worse because I couldn't even, I really needed a part-time job, but I couldn't find a part-time job. And then, no one was hiring. There didn't seem to be a future. And I felt really, really down, thinking, why have I studied so hard? Why did I work so hard? What was the point of it all? There's nothing out there. Like, look at the world, the country's in pieces. And that's why right now I really, really sympathize with the younger generation who've just graduated from university and, who have just left school. And I can't imagine what they must be going through. And one of the things that I really want them to know is that I know how they feel and it will get better. It's not going to be like this forever.
absolutely, and you know, I've been a similar journey. I mean, I spent most of my life striving to be a rock star. You know, learning musical instruments, writing songs, playing gigs, going to university to do music, and I kind of worked to kind of get to that, you know, that place that I wanted to get to. And then at the same, when I started university, it was the year of the recession. And then when I came out, you know, I quickly realised that the music industry didn't operate the way I thought it did. And it was actually one of the most soul destroying things I went through at that time. When I was probably 22, 23 years old, because it was like, I've spent my whole life doing this, and no one's interested. No one wants me. It's that feeling of rejection, you know, feeling of not.
Yeah, it can make you feel so lost.
Yeah, I felt lost. But then, like you say, if you, as long as you kind of keep going, you eventually get past that, and that's what, like you say, if you can install that into, quite frankly, everyone right now that's going through coronavirus, and you know, everyone's been impacted in different ways, then you know,
Yeah.
people will see what's possible, and hopefully they'll find the kind of second wind and, you know, move forward in life. That would be a good thing, wouldn't it? So what happened after that? So you came out of school. Did you go to university? Did you eventually
Yeah,
get
I had to kind of. This is I described that next period of my life as being sort of a bit of everything, because I started studying biology and chemistry, intending to become a doctor because that was the thing that all Asian parents, my South Asian parents, really wanted me to become. So I did that, and I didn't enjoy it, and I started feeling really down and just not doing so well. And then I thought, okay, let's change over to just creative arts, as far opposite as you can go, much to the disappointment to other parents. And so I started textiles and graphic designs, and that sort of led me onto an art course, which eventually led me onto a fashion design degree. And
Oh,
I'm
cool.
so grateful for the fashion design degree, because even though it's not what I wanted to do in the end, it led me to what I wanted to do, because during that degree there was a placement year. So it's a year in the middle where you go out into the industry and do something.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was in that year where I secured placements abroad. So in Berlin and in New York. In New York for one of my idols, who was Anna Sui. And not only was she a great fashion designer, she was an incredible businesswoman. And when I went to New York, that was where sort of the fire lit inside me, and I thought, I absolutely love business. I love sales. It's that whole American way of selling and that American way of doing business. It's so, it's almost theoretical, like a theater. And, it just, something about it, it just really resonated with me. And I just thought, fashion's great and stuff, but I really want to be a businesswoman. So when I came back to the UK to do my final year, I set my sights on, sort of, taking a different path, still working within fashion and the garment industry, but sort of going more towards the business side. So alongside the last year of my course, I also did a workshop in sort of different business. It's called business workshops, and it was run by the business department of our university, and anyone from any course could go on it. So I enrolled in them. I learned the foundations, so sort of a P&L management, cash flows, branding, marketing, the different components of starting a business, entrepreneurship. And then I sort of went out and, got my first job.
Well, wasn't that the account manager position that you spoke about when in the article we did about you? When you
No, my first job, a lot of people don't know, my first job was minimum wage. I was a warehouse administrator.
Oh, right, okay.
So it was for a fashion brand, and what I had to do, I had to create pick lists for a warehouse. So I'd process orders coming in from China and then create lists of what had to be picked in the warehouse. And, the warehouse pickers would then go out and get that and pack it into boxes. So, yeah, very humble beginning. It was tough to get a job after I left uni. So, that was the job that I got. And I figured, you start from the bottom and you can make your way to the top. And 3 months into that role, moved into head office. 3 months after that, transferred to another company. And, that's sort of like the start of my career.
So it's because when we wrote the article, you did mention that you used to help get like products into retail and stuff. Like you was working with like some of the supermarket chains and some of the retail outlets, and that was kind of what you did off that, wasn't it? So you kind of became a bit of an expert at
it was
for the right places.
Yeah, it was my early career, because what I was doing sort of in that second role, I was sort of sending stock into like ASOS and stuff. I was just the administrator, but I realized, how a business works, how they send stock into, Dorothy Perkins, how they sell stock into Debenhams and ASOS and John Lewis, and, how that whole framework works. And then later on in my career, it became useful, because that's when I moved to M. Brown Group and eventually got a role there where, that was the business goal, where they wanted to start selling into Amazon. They wanted to start selling into, international retailers like Zalando, and that's when I started like really getting into account management and into sales and, selling, the whole thing around, a company selling their products to another company, and, essentially that B2B side. And, it's what I ended up staying in, and it's what I still do today, albeit not in fashion anymore.
Oh, so do you still work whilst you're running Insu?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. So you're not quite at that point yet where you can kind of phase the two out and kind of, phase one out and phase one in. You're not quite at that point yet.
Well, do you know what? There was actually not much of a need. I got a lot of support from my parents and my sisters, who are also really heavily involved in Insu. And it's still a small business. I always say it sort of runs itself. I do a little bit here and there. And for now, I'm happy with the way the business is, and I'm happy with the way my life is. I had to really take control, because everyone was like, oh, when are you taking your company big? When are you doing this grand thing? When are you going to get into the big retailers and do something incredible on this? And, it was too much. I liked just having my small business. I like focusing on the products, on the customers, and, making something really, really great. I mean, maybe in the future it will become something bigger and, all of that stuff, but I find a lot of value in just focusing on creating something very personal, and something, that, is focused on the product and the customer. And, there's no shame in having a small business. There's no shame in working full time and still having a side hustle. I'm all for that.
I agree with you, and actually sometimes the irony is that's the thing that makes you successful, because like you say, providing great customer service, doing the job properly, and not being too driven about making this like £1 billion company, and kind of just doing it right, getting all the basics down. I've met so many people over the years, seen so many companies where people started something for a joke, or a hobby, and they didn't even care. They had no ambition at all, and suddenly this thing takes off, and they're like, "What? I wasn't even trying to do this thing. I was just doing it as a hobby." And I don't understand that. You know, actually, Minecraft's a great example of that. You know, Minecraft started off as some
Yeah, I love
gentleman that
Minecraft.
just did it for the fun, and he became a billionaire. I mean, he wasn't trying to do that. He wasn't trying to become a bloody billionaire. But the thing is,
I think that's where passion comes into it. When you're passionate about something, you care about it, you make it the best it can be. You know, that that has a lot more potential than you being mindlessly driven for success, success, success. I think passion is very, very powerful. Passion creates some incredible things, and that's very much my focus.
do you remember the day where you, I don't know, woke up one morning and saw the Apprentice application form and went, I'm doing it? Do you remember that? Or I've got to fill this form out. I have to. Sorry, I've got to.
I remember it was an advertisement that I saw. I can't remember where it was, but the first time I applied for The Apprentice, I didn't get onto the show. I went for an initial audition and didn't get onto it. And then it was 2 years later again where I saw an advertisement for it, and I just thought, hey, let's do it again. I got pretty close last time. Second time lucky, and it was second time lucky.
Yeah, I actually had the same experience. I went through the process a couple of times in because I used to live in Leeds, and I used to go to the I think it might be the Radisson Blue in Manchester or something like that, or the Marriott or something like that. I can't remember where it was. But
It's Manchester. That's the one I went to.
I went through all that, you know, where they get you in, they do all the video, and they're like, you know, why should we take you on? And you know, met the producers and all that stuff. I've been through it a couple of times. It's quite an experience, isn't it? It is quite an experience.
Yeah, I just remember how fast my heart was beating and how stressed I felt. I was on the edge.
You know, that first boardroom scene when you get in there and Alan Sugar's in there, and you're like, how did I get hit? It must be intense experience to go through. It must be.
It's surreal. Like, I could not believe it. You know, I sat there just thinking, what the hell? I've done it. I'm sat right here. And all that was in my mind was, what's it going to look like when it's on TV? Because it looked very different standing there.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, definitely. And I think I've got friends that won the show and been on the show in the past, and they've told me about how many hours you're actually in the boardroom for, and all the edits that don't make it, and all that kind of stuff, and it's like kind of behind the scenes type stuff. And
I mean, we're in the boardroom for so long, hours and hours, and it's just so long, and then literally like it's condensed into like 30 seconds for TV.
I know you obviously didn't win the show, but surely you must have taken some great stuff out of it. I mean, the exposure, maybe some business lessons along the way, hopefully a couple of friends as well from the show. Do you think? Do you regret doing it? I guess the question I'm asking you.
Absolutely not in a million years, because I think if I never did it, I would never have started Insu Beauty, and the business only exists because I went on the show, and it sort of pushed me into finally doing it. So I'm forever grateful for it.
Well, that's good though, and I think that's obviously the next thing we should cover. So, could you talk a bit about Insu? What you guys do, what makes you different, why you started it, just talk about. Give us the longest elevator pitch you want to give us.
Well, you know what? I always say to people, it's not a complicated business. We just create personal care products, so electrical beauty products. Our first product was a sonic skin cleanser. I probably have one around here somewhere. There's usually they're floating around everywhere, but it's sort of like a little cleanser, and there was others in the market already, so I didn't come up with anything new. Clarisonic was very well established. Foreo was very well established, and I used those products as well. And I often found with Clarisonic, it was very tough on my skin. And everyone said that actually, and it was £200. That's a pity, £200. And then there was Foreo, and I always felt like Foreo was doing nothing whenever I used it, but it was very big, very popular, and great for sensitive skin. And I thought, if these two could come together, and I could somehow be able to customize the brush heads that I have on it, so that when my skin is sensitive, I can use a sensitive one, and when it's not so sensitive, I can use something a little bit more exfoliating. So that was sort of where the idea came from, was to really tap into customization. And that's where I came up with the idea to have this sonic skin cleanser where I had, specially formulated brushes that just click in and you can change them whenever you want for your skin type, or, just use the same one if that suited you. And that was the first product that I developed, got in touch with the factories, created the brushes and, sort of launched the product. I did have 2 more products, but they didn't pass my rigorous testing process. Okay. So in the end, I launched with 1 product last year. Did really, really well. We sold over 1,000 units. And, this year we have been so busy and we're launching a new mini sonic skin cleanser. We're launching a smart mirror and we're launching a pore vacuum. And we're doing some smaller products, which are microfiber cleansing cloths, which you can use with the sonic skin cleansers. So yeah, we had our very safe and sort of relaxed first year, and like this year it's sort of going into full launch.
Well, I mean, I personally think you're onto something there. I mean, just going based on my business experience over the years, and obviously the kind of brands that we write about every day of the week, I think the good thing about what you've done is that you've been a user of this type of product before yourself. You've obviously not been satisfied with how it's worked, and you've kind of seen, oh, hold a minute, that's not quite right. Why don't I sort of, like you say, combine the 2 and come up with this better version? And I think that ultimately that's how the best businesses start. They start with your own frustration in something, trying to come up with a genuine solution.
100%.
And it sounds like you've done that, and the fact that you sold out so quickly is fantastic.
Yeah, it's great news. And it goes back to that thing where if you talk to a business person and you ask them, what should I do? They always say the same thing: do what you're passionate about. And for me, beauty and skincare is a big part of my life. I'm very passionate about it, so it made sense that I do that. And I give this advice to everyone. They ask me, what should I do? I want to start a business. I say, what are you passionate about? And I always say, start there.
Absolutely. And I mean, to kind of wrap up, last couple of questions. What are you? I mean, moving forward, what are your ambitions now? So obviously where you are currently, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I bet you hate that question.
Well, in 5 years, what my priority is in 5 years is to be happy. I think I put so much pressure on myself in my early life to do something big and grand, and I haven't spent enough time enjoying life and being happy and spending time with my family and my partner, who's amazing as well. And, that's going to be my focus, and everything else comes second. Doesn't mean that I don't love my business. I do, and it's incredible. My sister is also now a director of the company, so it's great because we can spend more time together and work on the business together. And it's something that she's passionate about, something that's exciting for me, beauty and skincare, and have a great life. And I'm just focused on enjoying life now.
That's a good thing. I think so many people don't realize that. They get caught up in all the artificial madness. It's when I get that big car, I'll be happy. When I buy that big house, I'll be happy. You can spend your whole life striving for this so-called great life or happiness, and really you're looking in the wrong places, because the best place to look at is in the mirror in the morning. That's the best place to start, isn't it?
Yeah,
really.
100%.
So I feel it's very mature and developed of you as a person for you to say that, because that means you're on the right kind of spiritual track, in terms of.
Yeah, and I didn't get there straight away. It took me a while.
Oh, it takes all a while. So yeah, I mean, I think that's my question really. I personally believe in you. I think you'll do it. I really do. I think I have no doubt in my head you'll get there. I think what you've got is great. I'm sure we haven't heard the last of you yet. There will definitely be more to come in the future. More great products maybe down the line. So yeah, I just want to wrap up by saying, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you very much for taking your time out.
Thank you so much.
To be the first guest on the Gramersi podcast, and it really means a lot to me. So thank you so much.
Oh, exciting! Thank you so much.
And genuinely wishing you the best, and keep in touch. And we'll speak.
Will do. All right, thanks.